If this is how you've been doing your cable side raises, you've been doing it all wrong. Let me show you a better way. What's up guys, Bodybuilding Vegan here. I'm gonna take you through how to set up your cable side raises to get the best side or lateral delt workout possible. Most people, when they come to the gym, myself for many years, would set up the cable side raise like this. They would come over here, they would do their cable side raises. And then before or after, they would go do their dumbbell side raises. They'd basically have a weight in their hand and they would do side raises like so. And that's great, that's awesome, that's phenomenal. However, if we look at this right here, this is the hardest part of the movement. I cannot hold this for all day, probably hold this till next year. So the thing is, with a dumbbell or any other gravity-centric device, the hardest part is gonna be out here where gravity is pulling us down while the weight is out far away from you. Now, if you come over here and you set up your cable exactly the same way, mimicking gravity, then you're gonna get the same basic result from this that you would get from that weight. So very easy down here. I could hold this all day. A lot harder right here. I couldn't hold this the whole time. So how do we fix it? It's actually super duper simple. You just raise the cable height a little bit. You bring this to about, like, I would say about handheld height, somewhere in this vicinity. Right there would probably be perfect. What I like to do is I like to kind of hang on and lean into it. But what this does now is, instead of it being the hardest right here, I could hold this for a while, I could hold this for a while. It's now hardest in about the center, wherever this like 90-degree angle originates. So what this allows you to do, you can either do these first, and kind of train that middle range of motion, then go to your dumbbells and hit that top range of motion next, or you can start with the dumbbells and then come hit here. I personally like to do these first. I get the best feeling, the best contraction, and I feel like the best overload doing them this way. So I'm gonna run you guys through a set of these. I'm also gonna add a little finisher at the end that is a little bit different than anything else I've seen people do, where we focus on the partials at the bottom. Great way to either finish off or start off your delt day. Working set time. All right, I thought of a few other things while I was getting set up earlier. So for the actual setup, I do like to use a cuff. If they had a cuff, I'd be using one now. Basically, it takes your wrist out of the equation, but if you do have a cuff, it's still good to grab one of these just to hang on to have something in your hand. It's a little more comfortable that way. Next, I do subscribe to pinkies above thumbs here. We don't want to come out like this to where I'm like, hey, high five, like more of like, hey, no, pinky out there, pinky slightly above thumb. It doesn't have to be extreme, but even if it's just a little bit, this is gonna work your side delts more into play, whereas if your thumb was up high, it's gonna work more of your front delts like a front raise. So pinky's up just a little bit. Be like drinking some tea. Feet. If you start here, you're already wrong. If you want to have your feet in play here, get them up nice and close. That way when you fall, now you're in position. Next biggest thing that a lot of people miss on these is they get in a very strong position. This is strong. Our arms are in close. It's nice and tight. In tight sounds great, but then you're doing this short little range of motion, moving a ton of weight. Put this hand out and far away from you. Think about you're playing a game and like, whoever makes the bigger arm circle and takes up the most space, they win the game. You want to win? Keep your arm out nice and far from you. If you do these, that alone is going to take your workout to the next level. So I'm going to run you through a full working set. We're going to do side raises into partials. And when we do partials, we change things up a little bit. I'm going to walk through it as I go. So I'm going to do all the things. Get this up, pinky up, feet in, lean into it. Let's take this set to failure. How do you know it's failure? When you can't do another full rep, go for it. Find out. I'll find out with you guys. Okay, so failed. All right, around 13 or so. So now when we do partials, we're not going to do them here. We're going to take a big step out. That's going to allow the hardest portion of the movement to be right here. Now, I got to fix this because something is dragging. I think it's this extra weight. That ain't going to work. We can go a little actually heavy on these if you want. Okay, so with these, biggest thing, keep that arm straight. Don't bend here. Straight. Because if it's straight, my delt is relaxed right now, but now it's engaged. Keep it straight, and I want you to think about bumping the guy next to you. Just a little love tap. control that negative. Try and squeeze out. Tap them and hold on them for just a second. Do that, and you're gonna grow your delts. Like, comment, subscribe. See y'all in the next.